and they were like three little puncture marks that appeared to have been caused by a needle-like device, which this is kind of standard stuff for UFO abductions.
I wonder if they had
But
an implant put in somewhere and they weren't even aware of it.
yeah, I didn't come across anything about implants, but yeah, I mean, puncture wounds, it seems like the kind of triangle three marks thing, that's pretty similar across the board for a lot of abduction cases.
Dude, wouldn't it be crazy to think about the fact that there's probably a really good chance that they had an implant in them? They probably went their whole life and never even realized there's an implant because they had no reason to think that there was one, because this wasn't in the forefront of knowledge at the time, that when people get abducted that people put implants in it. This was like just when this stuff was starting off, so nobody already like publicly knew that at the
73,
time.
so I mean, this wasn't that long after like the Betty and Barney Hill thing,
And that's only, even at that time, it was only the people that are interested in it that even knew about that. That wasn't, I'm sure, like something that everybody knew about. Even now, you talk about Benny and Marty Hill, and unless people are into this stuff and into the community, like, people don't just know this kind of stuff. Even aliens in general now, you talk about implants, like, maybe from sci-fi movies, people might understand that concept now, but back in the day, like I said, it wasn't as much in the forefront. So people would have no idea that implants were a thing back then.
Yeah, there
unless
just
they
wasn't,
knew about the topic already.
Yeah, there wasn't the pool of information for people to pull from at that point.
Speaking of that too, can you imagine, dude, having this experience happen to you and not being able to tell anybody? Like, you don't have the internet that you can go and like tell somebody and hide behind something. Like, these guys were, I'm assuming, just some standard everyday blue collar type guys, and
yeah, working at the shipyard in Mississippi.
Like who would you the only people they could talk to is each other back and forth, and I mean that might even bring up trauma, or they might not even want to talk about it.
Well, I think that was kind of the thing, like they, like I said, initially planned not to report this, but I think they were just like so fucking wrecked by this situation, they eventually changed their minds and decided to go to the police just for their own mental well-being.
I'm assuming they're probably hoping that somebody would come out of the woodwork and say that they had the same experience. I mean,
we might touch on that a little bit later in the notes. But
you know how I do that. I always gotta bring stuff up before you get to it.
But so kind of in addition to these puncture marks, they also said that these guys, their eyes were kind of like dilated, and it appeared that there had been some kind of effect from the light from the UFO or whatever had on these guys' eyes. So it wasn't like the typical eye burn that we hear a lot in UFO cases, but just another cool thing that I thought kind of ticked another box as far as like UFO and alien stories go.